Yeah, late for about 9 minutes, but that is what is happening when you send the Teams link. And yeah, tonight we have a special guest star, if I may say like that, because I announced her as a queen. So I would say tonight we have Her Majesty Paula. Welcome to the Diary of an MCT and MVP.
Wow, that's definitely a statement. Thank you so much. Thank you for any invitation, and it's absolute pleasure. I'm glad we finally figured out. Sorry for being late
No,
with the connection, but we're here. So
we made
let's
it.
push this.
Indeed. 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 Nice. And now I have a conclusion why I'm saying queen, because I'm following really from 15 years already, I would say. And I even remember your security when you were trying to find the gaps in the security and the Active Directory. In that period, I was working as a sysadmin, creating
Okay.
users, preset users. And you were showing on one conference really 15 years ago, and it was really on the stage demo and hacking an account in Active Directory in that period was really bam, you know.
That was
So
a good
kudos
time,
to all
definitely.
your job. I wanted to say big kudos, really doing a great job in the
Thanks.
security. And again, the queen is here.
Oh, this is very nice of you. But honestly, you just reminded me that yes, this has been quite a long time when I was in the industry, and 15 years ago sounds like a very short period of time when you think about it. Yeah, because when I would think about the conferences that were happening at that time, then
Yeah,
I am like, yeah, that I remember that actually very, very well. I remember what happened over there and so on. So 15 years in IT sounds a lot in terms of tech, but in
yeah,
terms of like people and so on, it's a small world, and especially in
true,
cybersecurity.
true, true. Let me catch you immediately with one fresh question, I would say, because it's, I think, all around us and it's happening. What's Paula's opinion about AI security and all that stuff? I'm working as a CISO, by the way, so be careful what you will say.
All
Everything is
right, all
noted
right.
now. So I'm kidding. No, it's quite how to say it? Yeah, I feel somehow like in 2017, 18, when it started, DevOps way of working. So everyone were focused on the development. So they a
Mm-hmm.
little bit skipped the security, if I may call it like that. So I see same happening now. So I wanted to ask you, what is your opinion about that? Am I correct in my mind, or I'm thinking a little bit differently?
No, no, I totally agree with you. So, cybersecurity jumped into the field where we kind of like felt that we are all done with securing the environments and so on. But then cloud came, AI
Yeah,
came quite recently. I think we can say that in the way how we see it, of course, right now because it has been there for a while. And definitely, like you were saying, we don't really pay that much attention to cybersecurity, but more. I don't want to generalize because I believe that lots of people
yeah,
can disagree with that, of course, and I do disagree with myself if I would generalize it. But there are some situations where cybersecurity it's still not on the first spot, and sometimes it might be the product development. For example, there are companies that are building their solutions for and to get the good funding and eventually cash out and so on, and cybersecurity will not be their first think might be like that because they want to act fast. So not
yeah,
everybody, obviously, but we can see that AI it's definitely more of a focus right now, and
yeah,
cybersecurity it's like a little bit just behind.
yeah, yeah. So we are completely on the same page about the topic. So happy to hear that from one professional, if I may call a really big professional in this industry, if I may say it like that. Uh, do we, or what is your expectation, if I may ask like that, when I see the DevOps way of working with the sign, it will be another circle next to it, or it will be a completely different one, if I may ask like that? Because currently, how I see it, the circle of DevOps, and basically around him is the security, in my mind, to be honest. So, do we expect now extension of that circle and basically covering with security that one, or it will be a completely new one, if I may call it like that?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I would say that it really depends on the type of testing and
Yeah, yeah,
whether,
yeah.
like, it's going to be cybersecurity that's built in a process. But at the same time, when you think about that, it might be actually a little bit outside as well, because
True.
outside is going to be testing and a whole maintenance too.
Yeah,
So it depends on the testing type. Like today I had a very interesting conversation about like how AI and cybersecurity can cooperate in some sense together in order to even respond to threats. Like there's
yeah,
so many different new products that are popping up, and this was basically what was my conversation about the new products that are unknown, and they're developed. So it depends on how people build it, but I think answer is really both, because also there might be a demand to test the product even by the vendor or the third party that is buying it. So that's going to put the circle outside of the development process, but it's going to be a part of the process. So
true.
depends on the situation, I would say.
True. And completely agree on that one. Indeed, depends on the situation and what is a little bit, how to say it. For me, it's quite complex to explain to the normal people, if I may say like that are not in that industry. Yeah, there is a AI tool for this, AI tool for that, AI tool. You just pay subscription, and all that stuff is flying somewhere. Which, to be honest, I agree. It helps me, for example, if I may, I'm starting always from myself. So when I start, for example, after this conversation to cut on pieces, these like YouTube shorts or something, or these social content creators, they use AI tools, and they help to us based on subscription. But there are so many for different things, and somehow I think we are not thinking on the security currently a lot right now. We are really exposing our data, if I may call like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
debit card or credit card, name, surname, street address, email address. So immediately for very important data, if I may call like that, unique data, it's shared already with that tools, which tomorrow can be used really on a bad direction, bad way, if I may call it like that.
Yeah. You said very well, and I believe that's also less of our case, because like when we are aware that we shouldn't put the data over there, then we are like taking a decision that hey, we don't want to use this app. But if you really want to use this app, there is a need of sharing this type of information, and you have a choice. Like you don't give out that data
Yeah,
versus you don't use the app. And yeah, that's a very good statement you made, because if there could be some kind of a, even maybe a regulation that bans asking for this kind of information, unless, of course, or just bans, and there is no unless, but it could be unless you basically are able to publicly present, I wouldn't say like some papers that you've been tested, but that can that may go really in the wrong way. So maybe that could be that we are just stopping with the ban, and then unless of course you want to use finance in this app, then you
yeah,
may ask for that kind of data. But when we are thinking about some subscription, and then you were able to use the like some vendor like PayPal, Stripe, and so on to actually pay for it, then
yeah,
maybe that should be transferred to the PayPal or Stripe. I don't know whether of that is possible, but I totally like relate to the stuff that you were saying, that for
yeah.
whatever picture app you need to give away quite a lot of data, and security wise that's not very good. And we could say that we've got like all the new regulations introduced in Europe as well, but honestly, like still, it's a matter of details in cybersecurity.
True, true, and it's a very important data from the person. So yeah, maybe it's a good as a advice for the people that will watch the video later on and all that stuff. Some of these bank applications, if I may call it like that, basically they have a virtual card, which are quite useful right now. As we said, if I connect the story, you have 100 applications. All of them are asking, can you enter your debit card? Can you do this? Can you do that? And all that stuff. So maybe this virtual, which after 24 hours is destroyed or whatever is the word needed there. So indeed, it will be tricky, I think, in the coming 2020. I mean, coming in the current one, 2025, because we see really from January increased tripled all these AI applications for everything, if I may call like that. So it will be quite interesting. So now I'm connecting to my next question. If I go back in the time, how was when Paolo was starting, if I may say like that? There was a AI something or?
Not that much, to be honest. Yeah, it has been a couple of good years ago, that's for sure. And these were definitely good times because
Yeah,
it was just a little bit easier to get into systems, I would say,
yeah,
and lots of people that were, using different cybersecurity security solutions. They were
yeah,
more relying on like appliance that you put in a network, and you were really buying an appliance, yeah, kind of like this.
yeah,
But right now, like we are thinking about so many options that we got within the XDRs, EDRs, like anti-exploitation solutions. Firewalls started to have like a different meaning because you can intelligently prevent the traffic of a certain kind and
true,
so on. So like, but the inconvenient part of the 2 days world is that like in the past you kind of, at least in some sense, you felt that you know how things work, but today it's sometimes a box that you are buying, so we're kind of returning to the times of appliance, but with AI in it or claimed to be AI, kind of like that. So at the end, I think that the previous times were interesting. They were, I think, more convenient in the cybersecurity field. But on the other
yeah,
hand, we have converted into solutions today, and that's what we all
true.
wanted. So I like both times.
Yeah, yeah. Does that mean that in the past we have more control, if I may say like that?
I think
I,
so. Well,
yeah,
more control over, like it's a good statement that you said. See, it's like it's very difficult to say like yes or no because now in the solutions that you buy, you don't have control because there is a big knowledge base out there that you don't even know how it works. Yeah. On the other
true.
hand, it provides you more control as a tool over the different components in the infrastructure. In the past, you were lacking some solutions, so we can say that maybe we had like more control because it was simplified, but on the other hand, when things were going wrong, you definitely had less control.
Completely agree on that statement, the last one especially. And yeah, for me it was, I must say, as a starting IT support sysadmin, really long time, 20 years ago, if I may call it
Mhm.
like that. So whenever we said it's secure, yeah, there is a firewall within the organization, then you have another switch or something. So that's inside. Then you have the network segmentation, VLANs, this, that. So you have full control. And now somehow it's missing. Even a couple of months ago, I have a one project, Kubernetes with Azure Firewall. The guy
Mm,
says, but do we have a control over it?
mm.
Well, I think, I think, you know what to say, because now everything is in the cloud. You don't see the appliance, basically the hardware one, and basically everything it's in the cloud, if I may say like that. I think as much as it's becoming easier for us to use configure, it's becoming more risky, if I may call it like that. That's
Yeah.
how it's my view. I'm completely, yeah, I completely agree. And working on the Microsoft ecosystem in the last, yeah, all the 20 years, if I may call it like that.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
basically, yeah, it's let's see. Let's see, it will be funny. So, and interesting in the coming years. But what was the first computer of Paula, if I may say like that?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So this was I'm not. I wish it could be ZX Spectrum. I wish it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wish. But at the same time, like I'm quite happy to have like a Pentium that was I think it was 133 or something like this. But
133, something like
yeah,
that, I
yeah.
think. There
Yeah,
was
so
this
with like
type.
a
Yeah.
there was also the one that I was using where I was a smaller kid with like a turbo button and yeah, this one's but I'm like the kid of Commodore
Yeah.
64 and the first Pentiums. So yeah, a little bit of a PC kid. And I'm also the kid of freshly connecting to the internet times. So
Okay.
when you
Okay.
were, hooking up with the like a regular landline, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I'm a kid of that. So of course my mom had to pay like a huge bills because of this, which I believe
True.
everybody has their own story. The first connection, and then you just like, make a bill that equals like your mom's monthly salary or something like this. But at the end, yeah, this was my computer. And then later on, a funny fact, I started to learn how to like assemble it. So I
Yeah.
was buying some good parts, like good graphic cards, and like all the money I could get from all the like a birthday presents or ask my grandma or something like this. Then this was going to the computer parts. And finally, there was a laptop time. So this was an HP, like the Pro. I don't remember the version, but it was
Yeah.
actually pretty expensive for like my mom's and grandmom's vision. But I was like,
Yeah.
no. And I actually had a question like, do you really need this? And I said, yes, I need this. And they were like, okay, so then we are buying it. But it was a hassle. So I'm actually glad that I could have a really nice hardware that just enables you. And it's not really the, internet access, but then you can actually do a couple of things.
True, true, and yeah, that period it's how to say never forgettable, if I may call it like that, because I
No, yeah.
remember myself like what you said now. It reminds me modem 56K, and
I
I
had
was
a
putting
Zoltrix spirit.
some blankets from around on top of the computer on the Pentium,
Yeah.
because there was a sound when he was connecting. Ting,
Yeah,
ting,
yeah,
ting.
exactly.
And then I imagine they created some type of a cheap tariff after midnight, and I'm
Mm.
sitting till 11 waiting my parents to go to bed, and then put the blankets, and then somehow my father around 12:15, 12:30, what you're doing? Yeah, I'm learning. Yeah, this does not look like a book. This looks like MSN Mirts in that period.
Yeah.
It was so it was, yeah, it's quite difficult. And then he will check. Let me check. And usually you can check that if you how it's called, if you take the phone and try to call somebody, and then you have this sound that it's connected on the
Good
internet.
time. Good
He
time.
will just say again on the internet. Okay, okay, where is the cable? And then two, three times, I think the cable was destroyed, and then
Oh,
renew
yeah.
it. I may call it that till the period where they will understand. Yeah, this is internet. This is what is happening, and all that stuff, which is quite interesting. What is happening now? Internet is available on everything, and in
Yeah, of
that period,
course.
yeah, you need cable, landline, this, that, and it was quite expensive. A
It
lot
was
of
it
money.
was quite expensive, but it was also pretty short period of time, I believe, for like both you and me. So that immediately there was like a lance introduced in the neighborhoods and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
this.
yeah,
So
yeah,
at the end, we were not like, as kids, I believe, going through like this for quite a long time, which,
yeah.
as I mentioned, sometimes I regret, because it would be really nice to see the full like a history of IT. And like I remember interesting conversations that I had with like some people at the conference when I was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And there was like a person that was, from the like 20 years like before me, and he was explaining how these things were like popping up in the field, like that the internet was there, and how it was, and all these things, like who introduced what kind of a brand. And I was like, wow, this is really cool to see it, to experience it. Now it's like with like, maybe I will say something unpopular, but it's a little bit like with the musicians. Like there are the ones that are standing out, but if there's like someone new playing, to be honest, I have no idea like what's this. And not that I'm listening, to like some kind of a only like 20 from the 20 years like in a back period. Absolutely not. Like the new stuff as well. But you just want to know like who this person is. There's so many, like such a huge variety of things that it's
True.
very difficult to remember it. Which, I mean, it's a feature of our times. But it's nice to know like your environment. And right now, kind of, it's too many things to know your environment.
too many informations. I'm calling like that, to be honest,
Mm,
because usually, yeah, I completely agree with what you said with the musicians, because it's you go left or right on left monitor or right monitor, if I may say it like that. You see all the time something different, and it's I feel also sometimes that it's we are very tired, all these burnouts that we are seeing around us. I know it's completely different topic from
mm,
cybersecurity and work, but it's part of our life. I think it's happening because there are so many information sometimes, and it takes some time here somewhere in the backlog. I'm calling, in the backlog to execute all of the data and to read, understand, because every day we are reading or we need to learn something new. Yeah, they're saying, yeah, the mind is really capable of learning. But somehow I think work, family, sport, I don't know,
mm.
TV, Netflix, or whatever there, you watch. And on top of that, the cherry on the top is whatever you open on these social networks. It's really bunch of informations in one
Yeah,
place,
hard to
which is really
process. Yeah.
indeed, indeed. We need this. I think who announced it? NVIDIA processor, something if possible here, maybe that
Oh,
will
you
execute
you've
or
got
some
that.
other.
You got that idea. That's interesting. Like you are not against it. I'm also, by the way, for it. But I'm curious about people's opinions regarding this because I am a big fan of like tech. And
Yeah,
if there will be some kind of like a processor like this, and I believe we are heading into these times, then why not? And like if only I could have like a second brain just next to me that is doing the same things as I'm doing, but just like simultaneously and in my way, that would be so cool. But like that would be really, really nice to live in these times. Fingers crossed.
indeed. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what it will happen. I just remind me 2010, 11, 12. Yeah, 11
Mhm,
or 12. I was doing a little bit SEO, basically in my as a hobby, side hustle now called. Basically, search engine optimization, WordPress websites, and all that stuff.
mhm,
Some blog posts, earning some university money from Google AdSense, if I may say like
mhm,
that. And I
mhm.
remember the most readed news in that period. This is 2011 or 12.
What was it?
Trump will implement chips in your
Oh, that's interesting.
hand. This is
Hmm.
2011-12, and whoever on his side put this type of story, that post was earning really millions of money. If there was, I think, somewhere on
Oh,
BBC
I
or
know what you
something,
were talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
Mhm.
people earned money from that type of post that
Hmm.
Trump, when Trump will come as a president, he will put chips in our hands and this
Yeah.
type of things. So it was quite interesting now, and I completely agree. I'm happy to be part of that because we saw how it started. Let's see, the not fully maybe from the really early beginning, but we saw the struggle, we saw the improvement, and now where it goes. So now it reminds me that in the past, what they were saying about these chips, and now relating the story, what you said, it's really a little bit, And I agree with you that if it's needed a parallel next to me here that will do all my stuff and my way of working, that would be really
Why
super cool
not? Yeah.
idea.
We miss like yeah, thank you for saying this. So we miss our own productivity sometimes. Yeah, because of the like different things that we do on everyday basis and then you think, "Oh, I wish I could like find time for like doing more research or I wish I could be more supporting for my team when they're like creating, let's say offers, yeah. I wish that I could think more about how to do this and that and like yeah you cannot do everything and one can say that that's why we work in teams. I agree, but on the other hand, like I like my style of working and I really like my style of writing emails and like it's just like and then someone could say that okay but you can have actually someone in a team doing that and so on or maybe you can train AI about that like maybe we can and I don't think it's very far, so that kind of a brain maybe could be actually not that far closer
Yeah,
than we think because we could have a solution that's going to be like monitoring how we work and then you will be just like having some things, doing the things that you do all the time, but on themselves, and then emails are
Yeah.
sent, this is done. Like you're gonna just like prioritize things that you really like, but you still maintain the productivity. Like that
Yeah.
might sound like some wild vision, so I apologize for this,
No.
but yeah, that would be pretty cool. Like if that could happen to me, I'll take that.
I will bought that immediately on Amazon with discount if possible
Yeah,
on Black
sure.
Friday. On Black Friday because it will be, I think, your mind or this mind. It's quite expensive, I would say, with so many experience and all that stuff.
Or
But it's
yeah,
really
like
nice.
someone
Yeah,
could buy someone's mind. Like yes, like there was even a saying, can I pick some of your like part of your brain or like something like this?
yeah,
And yeah, like why not?
yeah. Oh, if I have your, yeah, it's something like your brain, or indeed, indeed, indeed. Oh, if I have
And
it,
then
your
you were
brain,
like
indeed,
then
indeed.
you were
Agree.
then you were like selling some chunks,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
like the
yeah.
access or something like that to the bots that is actually representing your like skills in terms of consulting, but then you
True.
still do some nice stuff. Hmm.
True, and you can leave that backup of the brain at home so he can clean a little bit, prepare a lunch, do stuff on our way of working, my or yours. Clean, do this, do that, and then I can go to work and come back, and everything is done.
That would be very, very cool. But I'll stick with like, like there are two entities working at the same time. You resting, this like assistant is resting. Like that is okay at the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, true, 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 true. Back to the story, basically, because we are now thinking from this type of perspective. We are getting older, if I may call it like that, and
Hmm.
we have a lot of history on these computers and how it started. So, because you said you started assembling, that means that Paula started as a developer, something, or she was curious about how those assemblies and MS DOS, how they were
The
working,
parts,
if I
the
may.
computer parts, like to assemble the computer parts. So
Yeah.
like, to buy the graphic cards,
Ah,
to buy
the
that
hardware.
part.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So
Yeah, yeah,
like this was this time when you thought like, okay, I'm gonna go to the computer store and I'm gonna pick some cool stuff so
yeah,
that I can maybe even as a kiddo, because I was also playing some games,
yeah,
so that I can actually have like a nice processing, nice
yeah, yeah,
graphic
yeah.
over there and so on. And then I was later on using it for some other purposes, like for cyber and for some cracking and stuff like this. But at the end,
Does that mean,
so
sorry to interrupt you, does that mean The Hacker with Angelina Jolie, it's Paula's favorite movie? Or not?
it used to be,
Ah,
but
okay.
but now, I mean, I still like it though. I have a definitely a sentiment, though. It's not that wild. Yeah, it's not that
Yeah,
wild, and
true.
it's more
I
legal.
agree. I
Yeah,
agree, but it's really from the past in that period of era,
but it was
really,
cool.
uh, how to say, in now thinking on this period and that period, really bad computer configurations, really older, not so powerful, but they were doing a
Mm,
magic connecting.
mm.
You see the line with the on Windows 98, I think it was in the movie, if I remember good, and all that stuff, which is quite interesting to see what was happening and what is happening now, and what we see, for example, in that period, how to broke basically or get into some organization. Now it's how to steal from that organization, which is, I think, from hacker perspective, is also quite different
Quite a different thing,
thinking.
definitely, definitely. And I'm more social, I think. Like I am not like one of these people that looks down somewhere and so on. Like I like others. Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. What happened, if I may say like that, after the computer assembling parts? Where Paul started, if I may say like that, immediately at security
Yeah.
development, or I don't know.
Immediately at security. So
Wow.
basically, when I was when I was like in a primary school, I
Yeah.
was administering the school network with my colleague, and then later on, I went to the high school, and I was in the class with the profile. like mathematics slash
Yeah, yeah,
IT,
yeah, yeah,
how
yeah,
how
yeah.
it was called. So it was just a little bit more of math and a little bit more of IT. So kind of like that's what it meant. But later on, and this was already, by the way, a moment when I started to work like for money, so the
Yeah,
regular
yeah,
work,
yeah. Earn
and
some money, indeed.
yeah, like just the simple things. But I was
Yeah,
doing the testing of the applications that was at the like I was there for a short period of time because it was like a first practice, first job kind of thing,
yeah.
and I was testing the app that was controlling the sensors on the highway. It's very funny. Like I will never forget this because it's a
Wow.
fascinating thing that like when you put the salt on the road, you do it at the certain like degrees, and if it's like you can really lose money if you're gonna do it too early or too late. There is also a risk
Wow.
related with it. Don't want to be boring, but I was basically testing that part. And then what was cool is that I joined a consulting company that was doing the consulting on the infrastructure in general. So security
Okay.
started to be part of that. And then
Yeah.
I established Secure, and then I was doing whatever I wanted, and this was
Wow.
my moment where I was, I said I want to do cybersecurity only, and I can live on that. Let's push it. So this was actually 16 years. So we just had like the 16th anniversary, and this was
Yeah.
16 years ago when I established that. And at the beginning, I was just by myself for a good couple of years, and then like I had my like first assistant, and then the assistant of an assistant, and I was cooperating with some people, and it started to grow. Yeah.
Nice. That's really nice to hear that you started with the network. So I must ask, does Paula know how to make a RG45?
Wow, that's interesting. So like, yeah. So one of the gifts, one of the birthday gifts that
Yeah.
was like the one that I demanded was
Yeah.
actually all the like tools for it. Yeah, because it was exciting, but like there is a moment like I'm getting, by the way, bored very easily. And
Ah, okay.
when you are like a networking like person doing this all the time,
Yeah.
I mean there is something relaxing in it, definitely. But I was like, okay, I can do it nicely, and the next one I could do like super nicely, perfectly, because it's supposed to be perfect. Yeah, so I was perfectionizing it, but then I was like, okay, what's next?
Okay.
Kind of like this.
Okay.
But I still
Okay.
like it, and I can totally do it. It's just that it's not my daily task right now.
Yeah, yeah, but in the past, basically delegating the
Oh yeah.
network, and I think all those movies with hackers, it was not so many like now, maybe, but they were attaching, if you remember, just connect with the cable, and basically now I can enter to your server, hack the data, and all that stuff. When it comes, to all of those scenarios, which is quite funny to see and watch there.
Mm.
And but I saw a couple of times on your demos, you're doing a really good job via prompts and all that stuff.
Thank you.
So, what
Thank you.
was your first programming language that you learned, if I may ask like that?
A funny fact, I'm not a developer. So at the
Yeah,
university, I was, doing the C,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
then later on the C sharp and so on. But I'm not that much of a like a developer. I'm not much. I'm definitely not a developer. But I'm more of a scripting person.
yeah,
So PowerShell came naturally. And
yeah,
this was something that allowed me to automate my tasks and so on here and there. But the way how I'm using it is also interesting. I'm more using it for like automation of the tests or
yeah,
information being revealed from the different components of the system. So this direction, yeah. So at the
yeah.
end, I'm more like of an infra person than the
Okay,
developer. And I always, by the way, admired developers for just sitting for the whole day in front of the computer and developing and I know a couple of guys that are there that are like so good at that, and they they s- there's still a passion about it. And for me,
yeah,
I like the movement. So when you jump from like one component of the infrastructure to the other, that's really
yeah.
something that brings me joy.
True. You're moving basically, and the vibe and all that adrenaline, if I may call like that. For me,
Yeah.
it was quite similar. Basically, I cannot sit on one chair and the whole day taka, 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 taka.
Mm-mm.
No, there is no cable. Now it's a printer driver. Now it's a later, I don't know, some servers, or go to the, in the past there was this, maybe it will come to your mind, KVM, I think it was the
Yeah,
name,
yeah.
where in the
Mhm.
server room, basically it will show the screen, basically allows you to connect to the servers and see the
Mm-mm.
screen there. So it was a quite similar journey for myself, if I may call it like that, when you want movement and all that stuff. But I agree fully that now, even I think from the development perspective, I think the developers need to move a little bit more like we in the
Mm.
past, because it's changing, I would say, with all of this stuff that is happening, if I may call it like that.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. So I think it's such a good change that is happening right now, yeah, and especially well, with the AI thing,
Yeah,
supporting the developers. Also, like there's nothing, well, maybe I'm gonna say something drastic here, but I would say there's nothing bad about it. Yes, so it's
yeah,
in order to grow, we have to continuously learn, and it's not that we all have to struggle and learn every day, but it's a curve. So you might not learn anything today, and maybe within a
yeah,
month or even a week or something like this, but then you feel that okay, it would be nice to read an article here, it would be nice to attend the training, read a book, or listen to the podcast, or anything that's going to make you think differently in future. Like for example, funny fact, I'm the CEO of CQURE. Yeah,
yeah,
so like nobody really teaches you in IT how to do business, how to talk with customers, how to speak their language, share the same
true.
values, and build the demand as well, or at least explain in a business language what kind of services do you deliver and why someone possibly might need them. And you figure it out on your own mistakes. And right now, like I feel uber comfortable, like when I'm on a calls with customers, literally no stress, nothing. Like it's just my world, and if they need something, we may have it, we might not have it, it doesn't matter, but I know that. And they are partners to me, they are partners. But like I wouldn't speak that language, I wouldn't be jumping on a calls with like super high confidence and stuff like this if it wasn't the growth. So I think it's the same thing. Like if we are like awake in 2025 and we are like, oh shoot, there's so much we don't know, like there's so much to learn. And it's like, what does it mean that we slept over like this the last 10
True.
years or something? So
Yeah,
it's not that something's gonna be like whoomp and then things gonna change, but we are
yeah,
like continuously, even though unconsciously, reading something, learning something. So I think it's this direction, yeah, that we want. And if we need to push somewhere, then we always have a good base. So if we take that perception over here, then I'm saying that any change, any growth, particularly because we are growing with AI, it's definitely a good thing. Even someone would say like, oh, isn't this a threat to developers? No, to be honest, I'm actually quite glad that I don't need to learn like, or be super duper amazing at C, because I can generate
true.
myself the code that's gonna work. And yes, I'm gonna understand it because I have a good base. That's it. So that's very cool because I don't need to ask anybody for support. It makes me growing. It makes them growing. Like it's just my comment about this. So I think it's just positive.
True.
Maybe
And
because
reminds
I'm
me of
just positive
something.
all the time. So
Yeah. No. But I completely agree. Sometimes, when I'm thinking, and it reminds me really a good statement. I remember on my first year, I finished University of Informatics, also a lot of mathematics, physics, and all that stuff. Because in the past, everything was mathematics, and then extended or
yeah.
make a balance to informatics. All the formulas on the development and all that stuff that is happening. I
Mm,
remember one, I think it was assistant in that period, and the next year he became a professor, and now he is PhD or whatever there on the university. And I remember really we were a lot of people on the university. Usually they are saying, "Yeah, now you're 800 in mid of the year,
mm,
200." Because half of them will quit because it's tough, this and that. And I think on the first two lessons, one of I remember his name and all that stuff. he said, yeah, the good developer is not to start from scratch. The good developer means to understand the code. That means if I take now Paula or Martin, put them in the project, if Martin is waiting now from the scratch and all of that stuff, it will be not a real developer. And there was a lot of complaining. A lot of colleagues were,
Oh,
how to
everybody's
say,
got an
replying back.
opinion.
Yeah. Because in 2006, 2007, it's happening this. And you can imagine, as you said, for me, it was the same C++, then Java,
Mm.
C Sharp, HTML, CSS, and all that stuff. So it's really long time ago, if I may call it, exactly almost 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
21, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember this statement. And now when I see people asking, yeah, but you see this chat GPT, you see this platform, they know how to develop, we will lose our job, it will take our job, also all the story is quite broader, if I may say, but I'm connecting the dots, 20 years ago, what was said and what is happening now. It's quite, not repeating for me, but somehow deja vu. I'm just, every
Mm-hmm.
day you see something. Yeah, this was mentioned 10 years ago from somebody, or you read somewhere, which is quite wow. It's quite a lot of interesting topics. Wow, Paula. Oh, okay. To continue, yeah, as you said, the PowerShell, the scripting, and all the
Mm-hmm.
stuff to put back on the track, basically. And if I may ask, after that and all that stuff, I forgot to ask, what was your first game?
Oh, this is really cool. Like the first one that I really got hooked into, that
Yeah,
was Morrowind. Well, okay, the
Morrowind.
first one that I got really hooked into was the Wolfenstein. Yeah, so
Oh, I remember that one.
that one, yeah. But
Wow.
in the old version, like in the, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah, the
two
first one.
or yeah, or even a one or something like this. But then
Yeah,
I was into Icewind Dale for the moment, into Morrowind, then later on Oblivion. So the whole like Elder Scrolls world,
yeah,
and I was also quite good on the forum of the whole world,
yeah,
about building the personas.
yeah,
So
yeah,
my like I had a couple of interesting characters that I've built, and I was advising people how to do it, and I was like feeling really funny because I was really into it. So people were like, oh, how do you, like, what's the optimized way to build that character that's gonna be? And I was like, and I was into optimization. So I was like, okay, how do you actually build it? But like one now when I think about it, it wasn't very difficult. But I was really like a top forum engaging person over there, which was really funny because at the end I did not end up with gaming. Maybe I should reconsider.
yeah. That's always a good option, I would say. And there is now streaming platforms that people are earning money, so you can still be CQURE and basically continue playing in the free
True.
time if you have. I don't know,
No,
basically, but if you
so
have,
difficult. So difficult. Like in all that adult world, it's so
yeah,
difficult to have like a free time. Like there is no such a thing, to be honest. So yeah, it's quite a lot of tasks, especially in cybersecurity, to
yeah,
do. And your free time is only when you have vacation. It's when you plan it, and this
true.
doesn't happen always as
Oh,
well. Like yeah,
indeed,
so
indeed.
we
I
shouldn't
see
really be
myself
bothered about
what you
that.
said now.
We should just accept it.
Yeah. For the Christmas period, usually in the last, how many? 10 years. What I'm doing, basically, I'm a big fan of FIFA. I'm playing FIFA
Oh,
from
nice.
1998.
Oh,
So
that's
I
cool.
have
You have
played
to play
all
one
these
day.
versions from 1998 till 2025. So
Cool.
during December or something, I will buy the FIFA. I will play one season with a club, or became a player or something. It takes
Hmm.
2-3 days. Done. That's it. I don't
Okay.
play anymore because it's not so funny alone, first of all. But and then a couple of friends, basically last month when I shared, hey, FIFA 2025, it's quite good. Now it's FC something. They changed the name
Hmm.
and so on. Doesn't matter. Hey, there is a $29. You can play online. so we can all play. Yeah, I'm not sure about buying online because it will be tough. Somebody need to work some daily activities, this, that, and all that stuff, which I completely agree with you. It's quite complicated to align and have a time. Yeah, and let me play a little bit and all that stuff. So it's quite interesting. But I
It's really
remember on
funny.
this game, by the
Mm.
way,
Oh, this
what you said.
the Oblivion, Morrowind, like
Yeah,
these
yeah,
ones.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Cool.
I was more on the beginning. I think a lot of games because I think not the last one, but when I bought my parents when they bought the computer, I remember all the friends. Hey, I have this game. I have that game. I have this game. I have that game.
Hmm.
And I remember was Red Alert, and then I stuck on Command Conquer Generals, which was
Oh,
quite
okay.
interesting for a young person to think
Yeah.
strategies, this, that, Rise
Yeah.
of Nations, and this type. But in parallel, because physically, I mean, originally I was playing a lot of football and all that stuff. So I wanted FIFA because of sport, and all that stuff. And that's how I stuck on the FIFA. But from that time, I would say Red Alert and Generals was really quite interesting in that period, also, on top of what you have played in that period.
Definitely, like when you mentioned the games, Oblivion was one of the first things that
Yeah.
I had to like compromise, so work versus Oblivion, and like doing other stuff in general versus Oblivion. And I
True.
literally said, I have a pretty tough character on like decisions, and I said no Oblivion anymore. Thank you so much, and I never played it again. So
Oh,
I'm like that. Like so basically no coffee, never. Unless of course
never.
I will be like, okay, now coffee time, then okay. So it's very like so sometimes it's strange, but it's very easy for me to say like, okay, we just leave it, that's it.
Yeah, and I see now. I just Google it to be honest with you. There is a new version. Some of them,
Oh gosh.
Oblivion. I see
No.
Game of the Year edition. So maybe sometimes you need just to spend one weekend, one day in the weekend, maybe just to
Hmm.
see how it is and what is happening to relax yourself. I would say like that, which it's
But
really
I think it's
sometimes good.
yeah, sometimes it's good. But it's a wise choice to like renew this game. Like, okay, okay. I will. I'm not sure if I will have a look. I'm not sure because it sounds tempting, but I know that I'm gonna spend on it like a couple of days, and I don't have these days. Not today.
Indeed,
Not within the next couple of
indeed.
years, I believe.
True, and what I see, I think a couple of weeks ago, I installed basically. I think they also renew it, renewing the most of the games now. Also with the
Hmm.
movies, as you can notice, all the old school movies with the same actors and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I see
Yeah.
for the phones now, all most of the games are renewing the graphics and all the stuff because I installed I think a couple of weeks ago accidentally in I was in the train and I think it was Rise of Nations or
Ooh.
something like that. Yeah, just to see how it is. And now it's becoming more complex because online it's easily available. So everything
Hmm.
is download resources and immediately you can just move forward, build a city, build a village, this and that, and blah blah blah. So yeah, maybe on the phone when you want to spend time just
In the
to click.
airplane, like, but if you got an internet in the airplane, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true, 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 true. I'm not sure. I think a couple of airlines are offering that, but I don't know if
You know
it's
what I
really working.
started?
I never tried.
You know what I'm doing for the relaxation right now? Like,
What?
let me show you. And it's not any product placement. Sorry, I'm just gonna grab it. Like,
No worries.
I have a piano at home, but
Piano?
because I fly a lot, yeah, yeah, because I
Yeah.
fly a lot, I was like, gosh, like I'm not progressing in it in a way how I want it, and I
Okay.
really like to have like a certain pace, and I'm not achieving my goals, which doesn't really stress me out, but it's just motivating me. And I bought this kind of sorry, like this kind of piano,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and
Wow.
yeah, very cool. And I synchronize it with my phone,
Yeah.
and it's so cool because at the end it allows me to I'll show you. It allows me actually to very nicely like play with it. It's kind of like, illuminating, kind of.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Also the lights.
So
That's
basically,
so nice.
yeah, it's called Rolly, and yet again, it's not a product placement or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. No worries.
But I think it's geeky because like you have an app. you have a song to play, like you have to focus. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then once you do it, then you are like spending quite a nice journey in the plane. Of course you can work, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna use the opportunity, to kind of like, to
rainbow.
play. And on the song it tells you which kind of like note you have to press, and I know the notes, and I play from like a from like a different notes, and
Yeah,
it's not super advanced at all, to be honest, but it's just very satisfying. It's something different, so
yeah,
like,
and your mind is switch a little bit from the daily activities, which is quite
and
nice and
you are
quite good.
still learning at the same time.
True, true,
That's my
and
point.
indeed. Yeah. Continuous learning, indeed. Nice, nice. That's nice to hear. Really nice. I must be honest with the piano, and now, yeah, I saw a couple of times applications. I'm a big fan of drums, by the way, so you can
Yeah.
tick, and play something. But I never think about what you said now, so it triggers me something, maybe as a new idea or something when you are in the train instead of
Yeah.
playing, yeah, dang, 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 something
That's
with the
my point.
music
You
in the
put on the
background.
headphones, and then you were like focusing because you have to play the notes that are like
Yeah,
like with the certain pace. And
true.
I find it uber geeky, and it's also like making your brain to still function, but in a different way. So actually makes you feel more relaxed by just doing something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to be boring
No,
with this one, but
no, you're not
I would
boring at
totally,
all.
I would totally recommend, like, if you're like
Yeah.
hyperactive, and you were like, okay, what I'm gonna do? You're reading the book, okay, that's cool, but let's do something else, yeah.
Yeah, and reading the book, basically for me, last year I think I break the ice. I have a bunch of the books here, quite motivational and
Mm,
inspirational, those type of books, if I may be honest.
mm-hmm.
But somehow, a couple of days ago, I discussed with one of my colleagues. Yeah, there is a Blinkies, there is a Headway, there is this, and I said it's
Yeah.
impossible. 200 pages book in 15 minutes,
No.
and in 15 minutes you're focused and you can everything I'm using when I'm driving the bicycle usually. And basically, you put 10-15 minutes, and I said, it's impossible 200 pages, and we see quotes, movies from these books. And now
Mm,
somebody in 10 minutes, and I'm not sure if the quality, let's go, or the learning is the same when you will take to read and all that stuff, or when you listen the audiobook and all that, which is a little bit tricky. So it's good one that you said, you focus on the piano. Maybe now not reading book that it's boring or we are against that. But I want to say there is a couple of other things that you can
mm,
have some nice, not side hustle, some hobby or
mm-hmm.
in your time, and you can learn something new, because we are all the time either YouTube, Spotify, and all the stuff. And now reading books, that you have digitally and you can listen that in 10 minutes and all, but you can still read your book if you have paper, basically. But it's good to think about on these type of things, to be honest, and I really like it what you showed the piano, which is really new learning, completely out of your work, because the piano
Yeah.
is not connected with security. The
No,
piano is at home, it's secure enough, I would say, and need to be charged from time to time. That's the only thing.
that's it.
So indeed, so you can really learn new and basically focus on really something
Mm.
else instead of thinking on work and all the stuff that is happening during the day.
Definitely,
It,
definitely, and also it's quite intense as well. And I think, by the way, that when we think about, the general, like, work life, I don't want to call it the balance, because I don't like that statement. There is no balance, yeah, let's just face it. If you want to work intensively, then if you want to do something, there is no balance. There's always something
yeah,
off the limit, off balance, like there's always something like that. And it doesn't mean that we cannot do the amazing stuff from like 8 till 4 p.m, but if you want to do even better, there is no balance. Yeah, that's the point. So at the end, that kind of a piano is also like boosting, I would say, the mindset. I think 80% of anything that we achieve, it's our mindset. It's because of our
true.
mindset. And like, you can be, for example, spending your holidays in a very, very intense way, like jumping, traveling, whatever, doing parachuting, and
Yeah,
doing very demanding things, but you are still resting. So like I feel that 80% it's a mindset, and if there's something that can boost my mindset in this, then that could be piano, because it increases the imagination and it
true.
just makes you to focus 100% somewhere else.
I see so many relations, and I really like it what you said. There is no, I will do the piano till here. No,
Mm-hmm.
either you go
Mm-mm.
off the limit, either you don't do. That's
Mm-hmm.
me personally. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people that will watch this video, they will say, "Yeah, here it is, Martin. There is nothing normal for him. Yeah, we are going till here, and then we stop till tomorrow." No, we must finish today. So it's going
Today,
off the
exactly.
limit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's me in the daily life, which sometimes even the colleagues will say, "Come on, Martin, not today. Please, let's continue tomorrow." No, let's finish,
No.
and tomorrow we can do some other stuff, you know?
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly. Tomorrow is tomorrow.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, and now one motivational, which is quite my in my mind very often. Why to be normal when you can be the best? So that's you
Hmm.
also. I would say I will exclude me because you're quite successful on this topic, especially in the security and all that stuff. So that's why, yeah, sometimes to be successful, I would say you need to go more, off the limits and all the stuff to achieve all the goals that you want and that you plan. It's quite good, and that's nice to hear indeed. And the piano, it's one more thing next to the security.
Hmm.
That's
Yes.
really happy to see that, yeah, the queen of cybersecurity have a lot of other
Oh.
things, uh, and I will now just continue, because we didn't touch that point, how it's
Hmm.
coming, and where Paula started when it comes to the cloud. Does directly went to Azure, GCP, or AWS maybe, or it was immediately first love with Azure, if I may say like that.
Yeah, Azure, definitely, definitely
Yeah.
Azure. So like we are more in the Microsoft stack, yeah, and
Okay.
cybersecurity wise, so like pen testing wise or analysis wise and so on, it doesn't really matter what kind of OS is this and so on. But in terms of the cloud, like as a team, we use
Yeah.
like different solutions. But me
Yeah.
personally, I'm more for like Azure, and this is like one of these things, and I'm not explaining myself, don't get me wrong, that
No.
when you want to like cover like even more things, then where and when do we find time to cover more? Do I want to know more about certain subjects? Of course I do, but then bring me the AI brain that I can turn on, and then there we go. So I'm more on Azure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's
And
just because of the time limitation. But do I want to do more things? Yes, we use AWS within our team and stuff like this. We do, but it's not like like there needs to be someone that specializes in things. That's what the
maybe
specialists
one
are
of the
for.
reasons that I can share with you, and I think that was the word that you were looking. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me. Feel free.
Mm,
So I think also all the connections, because I see for myself, for example, the same. Now, yeah, it's not advertisement. The same like with Apple. We all use Mac, for example, most of us, and then you have the iPhone. It's connected. Then
mm-hmm.
your AirPods is connected.
Yeah, your
So I want
whole
to say everything
environment.
it's integrated in that ecosystem, and the same is
Mm,
happening with Microsoft. It started
mm,
with Office 365, cloud, then now, yeah, in the security defender for cloud, threat intelligence, security copilot, and everything is basically, yeah, it's a nice package. As you said, even on the beginning, yeah, in the past was a alien virtual appliance, but now it's a package, if I may say like that, where
mm-hmm.
basically you have everything there. And why now to spend 3 days to integrate with completely something
Something
else?
else. That's my
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, so we make a choice. So yeah, Azure for me.
yeah, yeah. That's nice. Indeed, 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 indeed. That's nice to hear. Indeed. What is the most used, if I may call it or ask like that? What is the most used from security perspective tools on your side, if I may call it like Microsoft Defender, Security Copilot, Threat Intelligence, Sentinel? I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee it's number one, Sentinel, but you will share that one.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So Sentinel, because of the also the stack, but we are
Yeah,
not limiting ourselves to the different solutions, and
yeah,
myself too. Yeah, but the most often, definitely, there's gonna be the Sentinel. XDR, so the defender for endpoints
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
on,
yeah,
but also the Copilot for security. So
yeah,
it's very specific. Of course, not everybody uses it, not everybody can use it, and so on. But as a consulting company, we have to, and
yeah,
also we have to like be able to answer some questions that our bigger than us customers have, and because of the usage of the Copilot for security. So yeah, so that's pretty much the stack. And for the pen testing, well, different tools, but to
yeah,
be honest, I'm a big fan of our tools,
yeah,
because there's a big chunk of the tools that we share, but also there are tools that we don't share, and we keep them internally because we use them
yeah.
for the pen test. Like there is a quite a nice scripting that we've got as a team for the pen testing. We are big fans of manual work, but some of the things like you don't really need to do manually, so we scripted that. And when we do things, it's rather like with our own stuff.
That's nice to hear that you have internal. I mean, I was expecting that you will say that you have internal, of course, because you're a good, very good and big company, I would say. And basically, who is following you knows that you're doing a lot of stuff in within your company
Thank you.
and with a lot of customers. That is what I expect, to be honest. That's nice to hear. And yeah, for pen testing and when it comes to security, now me a couple of years ago when I switched to security, yeah, it's always must have some secret, how it's called this, when the heroes drink something, secret ingredients there.
Sauce, secret sauce,
Yeah,
yeah.
the ingredients, secret ingredients that the company is sharing, and doing the magic in the internally and then exposing to the world, which is always, that's our secret, like the Coca-Cola recipe, for example. Nobody knows
Mm,
about it and all this stuff. So it's that good to hear that you have quite a lot of internal tools and you're using all of that, which is nice to hear. Uh,
sure, sure.
Except the
Thank you.
piano, what is the challenge for
Hmm.
yourself for 2025? What new
Huh.
Paula will learn in 2025? I mean, there is a lot of AI security, and I suppose you're following all of that stuff and that track, but maybe something else. I don't know, maybe some sport or maybe some other technology or something.
Good question. Good question. So definitely, I would love to become familiar with more of an AI solutions that we
Okay.
would be able to use by ourselves, for example, to boost the pen testing.
Yeah.
Maybe we could create something by ourselves. We had this conversation internally already. So let's see what the time brings. And we have right now the period for conclusions and thinking,
Yeah.
and then within the next week or the other week, we're supposed to meet up with the team members to share some conclusions, like which direction we should go and so on. So I really like to think about the strategy of the company as well, and I think that's going to be good for us
Yeah.
internally to do it this way, so that we can create a pen test that eventually is going to be like uber duper good, because we like, my value is quality and I really push for it, and I really really do. And of course, like, to achieve that in the current times, we have to be also up to date, and to be in quality and also up to date, it's a challenge. So at the end, I think I would like to combine these two things to maintain the quality, introduce AI within our team to the pen testing. That will be
Yeah.
very cool, and also grow our academy even bigger. But if you wonder like what's my personal challenge over there, I think it's like, yeah, small reflection over there, but I think it's quite maybe difficult, kind of like, I don't like this word, like things are not difficult, things are just challenging. It's challenging
Yeah.
and you solve the challenges. So yeah, I think it's challenging to stay like um cheerful like all the time within the things that are surrounding you, because you are always surprised with something. Oh no, I don't know the technology, I have to learn. Oh well, what about that one, I
Good.
have to do this. So I always like manage to do it. Yeah, I think it's not a challenge, but I think it's going to be the plan for even the next year. Like,
Yeah.
I want to, even with bigger maturity, design the strategy of secure,
Yeah.
and create a nice workplace where people can grow, and that's my truly personal goal.
That's nice to hear, which connects to my next question. What is your expectations for this year when it comes to the security, if I may say like that?
Yeah, so like in the World Economic Forum is
Mhm.
over, and I'm a big fan of reading these reports. However generic
Okay,
these are for us, like we want to know like the meat, but then here is someone saying something. But at the same time, this is a direction that even people that may not always have good like dots to grow their opinions, they're gonna rely on it.
true.
So we want it or not, whatever the reason is, I think that World Economic Forum sets up the direction in January. Yeah,
For those, yeah, for those who will watch this video or who are watching the video, that's they can search it. The World Economic Forum. They have a PDF report. What
exactly.
Paula is saying, for those who are not aware, they published a paper, basically a PDF file, which says which jobs will be less, let's call it, and which are the new roles that will
Yeah,
increase. And basically, the goal is still 2030, so basically in the next 5 years. So it's also good advice, I would say, from Paolo to maybe read. It's I think 10,
definitely.
15 pages, something like that, where it specifically says, yeah, AI security specialist or Azure something security, it will increase that role on a job market, and
Mm,
basically it can help to a lot of people, basically to find easier job, to be available on the market so they can sell themselves easily, to do not be, yeah, I lost the job now and all that stuff, which I relate usually, yeah, because of the skills you lost the job. Sometimes I'm too rude, Paula, by the way, but I'm
no,
really
no, you say
honest
it.
with people.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
hey, I lost the
I'm
job.
on the same
Yeah,
page.
what you were doing in the last 5 years? Yeah, I was working C++. Yeah, it's okay. The world went to New Zealand, to the other side of the world, and you're still in C++, which is a little bit, that's a comfort zone, by the way. That's a different topic for discussion and
Mm,
complaining,
mm,
but to do not lose the context, because this was quite inspirational. I just want to give a
mm.
note. What is this PDF that you're saying? So the new role, or AI architect, AI security, or that type of things, basically it's also focused in the next coming years, what I understand from this PDF, and a lot of new
Definitely.
skills are required, if I may
Mm-hmm,
call it like that,
mm-hmm.
which will
Definitely.
be quite interesting.
Sure, like you said, perfectly. There was a two even reports. One is that cybersecurity focus one, and this one, of course, we totally recommend. And there's also the generic one, which is more on the like how world is going, where the world is going on. What's the biggest
True.
anxiety that we got? That is more into safety and like in cybersecurity or rather tech field, people are concerned about the disinformation and also the cybersecurity, cyber threat related risks. And of course, there is a elaboration on that. I totally recommend because like not that we always need to use it in a conversation, but that also sets up our mind, like what kind of things
That's
is going to be talked about and which
true.
direction. And even like whether you work in a certain company, then you will see like where to invest your time. And it's sometimes it's just a one sentence, but then you see that there are so many things in your field that are coming out of that. So for me, like in terms of disinformation, that would mean the information protection, information assurance, sources of information, protecting the sources of information. But also like different even phishing attacks that are coming from the sources of information that might be good, but then someone might post a link underneath, so that you basically should log in order to get access to this information. So like yeah, people seek for information because they want to know what's happening in this world, and there's always every day something horrible happening. So it's a fantastic reason to attack someone. So yeah, why not?
True. And my goal, I have written somewhere, I have on some note, in the next 2 years, the biggest issue, I think, basically now looking from security perspective, the biggest problem, and I think we all need to think about some type of solution, I think will be the data leakage. That's my
Mhm.
view. I think in the next 2 years, because as we said, we are talking almost hour or something. So even what we said 1 hour ago, yeah, the people are just filling the forms with their information. So those information, I'm afraid to say sometimes to myself, because yeah, sometimes you're too lazy to do stuff and recheck. So you're just, yeah, Martin, surname, email, done. Here it is. Let's go. But I think in the next 2 years that will come to us a little bit as a boomerang, because we were not conscious, mature enough, and all that stuff. So on top of that, what Paul is saying and how I connect these dots, basically it's that it will be needed additional training on these topics. I would say how the people to be careful, mature, and how to check, recheck, or whatever there, which is yeah, it will be interesting. Oh, oh,
You know what's missing to me, honestly, like as one of the subject is but I'm sometimes the idealist. But what I'm missing is the like a national governmental social programs on the cybersecurity awareness. Because you have programs like, when you drive, don't drink. When you drink, don't
yeah,
drive. Yeah, you've got this. So when you see an email that's coming not from the person that you could possibly trust, don't click on the link, don't open the
yeah,
attachment. Of course it's a thought, but yeah, it would be nice to see on a bus stop a campaign that actually touches that, and it's just like, let's say, 10 points, 10 steps that the government could figure out, bring this to the commercials, bus stops, whatever, posters on the streets and so on. That would definitely prioritize some thinking processes while we are, like clicking on the link to the in the email, answering some email, or whatever, opening the attachment. Yeah, these three things at the end.
yeah, yeah, and I fully agree. But I think also, should I share this? Yeah, I can share. I think it's okay.
Hmm.
I have quite bad experience, not on this. I completely agree what you said, and I think more details. But I'm afraid that more professionals like me and you, that is what I have seen, and I feel ashamed sometimes. I must be honest. People copy pasting directly a data from
Mm.
their laptop to chat gpt or Microsoft
Oh yeah.
Copilot or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Control A, Control C, Control V, enter, and then all the data. Yeah, also, yeah, all these LLM models, if I may call it like that, they set it
Mm-hmm.
secure, all that stuff. I completely, but I think the mature level and the person level need to think about before doing that step, even if there is a data. Usually in the pipeline error, what I have seen couple of times, basically in some projects, copy the whole error with all the SPN account, password, secret, whatever, paste to ChatGPT, and it's quite interesting. That's why I said in the next 2 years, I'm expecting to see that, and which is it will be quite challenging. That also the professionals are doing so
Yeah,
many
of course.
mistakes.
But you can also make some mistake by yourself, and
True.
it's a mistake, yeah. And we are just humans, not that, like, we
True.
probably do less of these kind of mistakes, but we still sometimes, tiny ones, might do them. Yeah. But wouldn't that be nice if we would see on a bus stop or like metro station the big poster saying like, be careful what you put into the
In,
AI tools, yeah, or something like
true.
that.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
then
So it
people's
will
gonna
be
be
for
like,
everyone.
oh yeah.
For everyone. Basically, is it a professional, beginner, or whatever, experience, not experience? They can, think about, hey, did I share that? Or something,
And
it will
here is
trigger
what you should put.
something
Yeah.
through. Nice. Okay, that's good. I think,
Maybe
oh,
someone
I
could
took
do
you
it.
really long time. So,
Thank you.
oh, I
It's a
need to
pleasure.
figure. Yeah,
It's a pleasure.
I have two questions
Tell me.
left. First of all, what is your funny experience from your security side when
Mm.
you have been doing something funny? I will share first of all mine, and then I will give you an example.
Mhm.
There was a lady 10 years ago. We were building a new application. We modified this and that. And I said, look, and she's calling me in that period, Skype for Business. Hey, Martin, I have problem. I cannot access to the system. And I said, yeah, did you try the password? Maybe you used caps letter, you enabled. And yeah, I'm using all the time caps letter. And I said, maybe you have some, smaller letter. And yeah, whenever I try, it's always a caps letter. And I said, yeah, may I ask what is your password? Yeah, it's a caps letter, basically big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was the internal system password, caps letter with the numbers, So I want to say on that type of joke,
Shoot,
something if you have
shoot.
something funny,
Uh,
yeah,
to be honest, I have a similar one. So when I was doing a pen test for one of our customers, I
yeah,
was like, just like by myself in the room, and there was an admin who was just like checking all the time. He was like passing by, like like just asking the questions. Are you done yet? Or did you manage to get in? Did you manage to get in? All the time like that. It was pretty annoying, to be honest, because he was like all the time asking this, and I was like, no, 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 no. And then of course there was a moment where I managed to get in, and I managed to become like a local admin on one of the
yeah,
computers. So nothing big yet, but it just happened. So then he comes in and he's like, yeah, like, did you manage to get in? And I was like, actually I did. And he's like, yeah, what happened? I'm like, and I'm like, I'm the administrator, but I didn't say whether I'm local or domain. And he's like,
okay,
what's the password? And I said, like, whatever password, 1, 2, 3, let's
yeah.
say. And he's like, oh no, so you are a domain admin now. Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, yes, I am now.
Yeah, I am.
I
I
am.
can delete everything now.
Now I am.
Oh,
And this guy, that's a funny part of, well, funny, not funny. I don't want to sound too brutal, but
yeah.
this guy, like when I said yes, and then he cried. He literally cried.
Oh,
Oh, and I was like, oh.
oh.
Mm. But I
But
found it
it's
actually
funny.
quite funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. But it's funny. I mean, come on.
I was like, "Mm, really?
Oh, nice.
Aw.
Yeah, there is a lot of, I would say, examples, fun examples of it, and it can happen. And usually, yeah, sometimes even for my mistake, I'm making joke for myself. Yeah, I said this, and I needed to say something else, for example, or something like that. Like these guys on the phone, when they call in some morning programs. I want to stay anonymous. Yeah, so I am Martin, and I want to say that this and that happened. But on the beginning, he's saying I want to be anonymous. When I'm speaking, and
Right,
he's mentioning his
right.
name, so all that stuff. But nice to hear that you have, I suppose, more than one.
Oh, there's so much going on. Every week there's always something, like sometimes the stories are more drastic when
Yeah,
the customer's environment it's in danger, and but there are always some like funny, not so funny like
yeah,
situations, like for example, I was analyzing one of the customer's environment, and then later on it all looked like it's a domain admin that came in and made a mess, and it was really weird, like how come, and like domain admin immediately, like how come. And then we found out in the GitHub that the developer who was actually supporting them, he actually published to the public availability the domain, which is the company name, the
yeah,
username and password of a domain admin. Yeah, so it was there on a GitHub, just like a dessert served. And yeah, when we saw it, we're like, whoa, that's really bad. And they called the guy, and he apologized, but who cares? At the end,
yeah.
damage
Really
is
good
damage
best
is done.
practice, I would say. Best practice,
Mm,
really good best practices used
mm.
from this guy. A lot of things can be learned.
So bad, right? So bad. So
Indeed.
at the end, like this, but the side part, like the sad part of it, is that this company was pretty devastated. So at the end, like they were like, oh, what else? Yeah, and then this came out, and they were like, mm-mm. Yeah, so they had to really recover from the beginning. Recover, it's not a good word. They had to build
Indeed.
everything from the scratch, and this is how they ended up. So yeah, quite challenging. But some stories are like, I mean, I find it actually quite funny that someone figures out to put the domain admin's credentials just like that's in a clear text. I find that funny, but on the other hand, like the damage that it can cause, that it caused, it's like no, yeah.
sometimes we have a saying, I'm not sure, should I cry or should I smile?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's this type of situation. So there's a different people and they need to learn. And I think, yeah, we all need to learn something new. We are doing mistakes, as we said, and you said, we're humans. It can happen. It's now nothing bad, but now not so obvious and put on the internet and all that stuff. I mean, but
Yeah,
yeah, it can happen. Let's call
it
it
can
like that,
definitely it can definitely
indeed.
happen.
My last
Perfect.
question to you, and
Yeah,
I
tell
will
me.
really leave you. It's quite late, and I don't want to bother you. What
No
was the
worries.
last book that Paula read?
Oh, this is really good question. Okay. So I have yeah, there are like two books that I read. One is the
Okay,
Atomic Habits.
okay,
And it like lots of people really talk about this book right now,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it's a pretty cool book at the end.
True.
And also another one was the Never Split the Difference, and that was
Okay,
by the Chris Voss, who is like a
okay.
former FBI negotiator. Never Split the Difference, and
Never
uh,
split the
and I read
difference.
this book a couple of times. And the
Wow.
reason why I read this is because first of all I love negotiations, and
Okay.
yeah, and the second part is that there is like I don't know if you meant it to be like this, but I find over there like a couple of bottoms so that you learn something, but then you look at it for in a different colors, and then
Oh,
for the next
yeah,
time and next time. And the first time you read it, you're like, okay, cool, quite simple, let's push
yeah.
it. But then, like, to put everything in like practice or like to even reflect on it and so on, it's impossible. So it's a book that you like. I think it's worth to read it a couple of times.
Okay, that's a good one. I don't know this one, so I will check for sure,
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
just to see. Never split the difference. That's nice.
And it's
Okay,
short, it's nice, and there was also like a masterclass video about it.
okay,
It's like kind of like an app that you have to like subscribe to, but again, not a product placement. But over there, you actually find very cool like lessons by like known
yeah,
people, and
yeah,
Chris Voss is one of them sharing this. And yet again, it sounds very simple when you listen to it,
yeah.
but when you like try to remember all these things, you have to rewind and rewind and rewind. So yeah, it's worth of the time in the
True.
airplane.
To try to implement is the tougher. I mean, all of us has read a lot of books, even technical, if I may say, security books, and we see examples. Sometimes it's really challenging to achieve that security. To use all the best practices, all this, all
Hmm,
that, because there is some challenge there that need to be fixed before it will be the whole solution.
definitely, definitely. But in this
Indeed.
book, there is a logic, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like if someone is in the cybersecurity field and they say like, okay, only want to read a book that's technical. Okay, cool, but that's kind of technical, and it helps us out in like regular problem solving. So yeah, totally recommend that.
Thank you a lot. It
Thank
was my
you.
pleasure to listen the
Pleasure.
Queen and to see that she
Oh,
gave me two or
thank you.
three kudos. I really appreciate that. Thank you from bottom of my heart. It was
Likewise,
really
thank you.
enjoying this. Even I think we can talk till midnight,
I
but we
agree.
need to sleep and we need to work to go tomorrow and all that stuff. It was really pleasure. Thank you a lot for your time.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, all of the people that will watch, thank you guys. And
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
basically, yep, yep.
Have a good night. Thank you so
Have
much,
a good
Martin. Thank you.
night.
Amazing. You're
Thank you.
amazing.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Thanks. Thanks. Ciao.
Ciao.